So coding challenge review React beginner. Yeah, it looks quite good actually. Yeah, some people managed to get almost a perfect challenge. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. Yeah. Please, Luigi, mute yourself if you don't mind, unless obviously you want to participate or unless you are dying. Thank you. Cool. Luigi? Luigi, hello. We are broadcasting on YouTube, Luigi. You are not on mute. Oh, right. All right. It's Vivian. Yes, welcome, Vivian. I had to mute you, unfortunately. Yes. So, thank you. Cool. Right. So, where we are? Yeah. So we were talking about React beginner. Yeah. So let's have a look and let's see. Question number 2. Oh, it will time out in 2 minutes. That's interesting. But don't worry. Yeah. Let me start again. And then hopefully we can start from scratch. So before we spoil too many results, coding challenge, beginner, question number 1, pretty trivial, yeah? We are expected to create a component that returns welcome to React. So here we simply have to type welcome to React. You agree on that? Cool, fantastic. So, and then do we need exclamation mark? I think so, right? Let's evaluate that. Let's see if that makes any sense. It does make sense, yeah? Welcome to React, easy peasy. And now the question is, what you did here? It's all good, yeah? Welcome to React, everyone is doing the same thing. No surprises at all. So, let's have a look to question number 2, assuming no one has any point here, right? It's all good, all clear? Fantastic. Question number 2. Again, welcome, but in that case, we are expected to add a couple of P. What P stands for? Paragraph, correct? Yeah? So we're expected to add a couple of paragraphs. On the first one, welcome. On the second one, to React. On the right-hand side, luckily, we got the first paragraph already in place. So now, we can simply add a second one. Remember that with VS Code and consequently with our platform, you can easily duplicate lines like that. Yeah, if you're a Mac user, Option Shift down. If you're a Windows user, I think it's Control Shift down, something like that. Yeah. Cool. Welcome, Walter. Welcome. Yeah, we are evaluating the results. We are not showing the numbers at the time being, unfortunately, so we're literally going through the workshop, right? So please mute yourself and obviously unmute if you want to participate at any time. Thank you. So welcome to React. I don't know if the T is capital or not. It's not. Yeah, so lower T to React. Yeah? And that should be okay, I believe. So let's evaluate it. Yes, all good. Yeah, no problem at all. Any elegance issues? No. So what you did here? Luigi, 2 paragraphs, same for Bucket, Dilius. Yeah, all the same, yes? All good, fantastic. Literally the same code for everybody. That was easy, right? So, what happened on the third question? Maybe slightly more complicated, but not that much. So, we're talking about players. And that player has 2 elements, the name and the score. Yeah? So, what sort of selector is that? Class name. Yeah, correct. So, class name. The name. How do we access the name of the player, which is provided here? Brackets. props dot person dot name. Correct. And how do we access the score? How do we do that? The same thing, right? Just replacing name with the score. Yeah? Cool. Let's see if that works. It does work. Yeah? So it's all good. Now I've got a question for you guys. Because all the stateless components have the props in it, yeah? I'll show you how to actually simplify things a bit. So instead of typing props here, you can destructure the props object, which is something we'll learn at some point, how to destructure objects. That means you can replace props with curly brackets and then type person. Yep. So what that means? That means please access a property called person and assign the value of person to a variable called person. Yeah. So that means we can access person straight away, and then our code is a bit easier to read. Yeah. I believe that helps to understand the semantics, because if we put props, we don't have any clue about what sort of properties are we receiving. If we put person, yes, we are telling from the very first line to our colleagues that our component is expected to receive a property called person. So I believe that's a bit more readable. Yeah. Yeah, of course. We'll see that when we review at the time of reviewing intermediate, and you can have as many as you want, separated by commas. Yeah. So let's see if that works. Oh, Helder muted me. That's interesting. Cool. So yes, it does work. So it's all the same. Yeah. Cool. So and then what you did here, question number 3 already. So Luigi, all good. Same for Bucket. Yeah. Bilius, everything in one line. I think it's still okay, right? Bilius, you didn't get any penalty.
No, I didn't know because I checked line.
Correct. Correct. Look at what Bilius proposed. He proposed to move everything to one line. Yeah. And I think that's fine because the line is short enough. Yeah. So that's still readable. All good for Bilius. Why didn't it work for Florin?
Because there was a person thing.
Correct. Look, so Florin imported props, which is correct, but then he forgot here to put props.person.name and props.person.score. Yeah, that was the main issue.
In this case, if you put person
here, yeah, again, it will be the same problem. If he put person here, still we need to put person.name and person.score. Yeah.
I can tell like from that one because I wasted quite a bit of time until I remember console.log. So I saw like it passes person.
Yep. Yep. Person. Yeah. Yep.
So instead of props, could we put like a person.name, person.score, and then the score name and score?
What do you mean?
No, I think it's the
Can you structure even further like that?
same question.
As far as I'm aware, that's not valid. That's not accepted. As far as I'm aware, but let's try that. Yeah, I get the point. Can we destructure deeper? Yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look. No, that was very optimistic. Unexpected token. Yeah, no. It's a great thing. I believe that should be added to JavaScript, right? But today, unfortunately, that's not valid. Yeah. So, what else you did here? Helder, everything in one line, all good, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Any question, guys? No? That was easy, right? Now question number 4. What we got here? Film score identifies poor movies. Film score identifies nice movies. And film score identifies excellent movies. So we have a film score component that receives the title of the movie, and then it gives a score, yeah, according to whatever. And then based on that number, the component should display a text with a rating, yeah? if it's, let's have a look at the instructions. If the score is below 50, poor movie. If it's between 50 and 75, nice. And if it's above 75, excellent. So here we start talking about conditional rendering. Yeah, depending on the data, we display something or something else. So that's pretty simple actually. We can do return props.score if it's, I think it was below 50, below equal, below 50, correct? Below 50, then return poor, yeah? Else, if props.score is what? Below 75, then nice. Otherwise, excellent. Look at how simple this is, yeah? We don't have to mess around with divs, with labels, just a nested ternary operator. If you don't like it, you can always use if else. Yeah, we can do that in a minute if you want. So let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. Yes, it does work, yeah? That was very simple. Missing semicolon, of course, yeah? Where is the missing semicolon? Here, you're right, Lucia, after excellent. Now, again, how do we destructure score? I don't want to put props 3 times. How do we destructure the score? Bracket, where? Here? And then what? Score, so then, yeah? If you want, because the line is short enough, we can put it in one line. However, I wouldn't recommend you to do that because even though it's still short enough, so we don't need to do any scrolling, I struggle to understand the line now, right? If poor, okay, then you don't see the indentation. So because of that, even if the line is short, that feels slightly more readable, right? Slightly, yeah? And of course, if you don't like that, you can do classic if score below 50, return poor, else if score below 75, return nice, else, do we need any else if or not? No, because that's the default case, right? If it's, the default case means it's above 50 and above 75, right? So that's clearly excellent. Yeah, that's equally valid. You have to type a bit more, but it's even more readable, I believe, yeah? Very readable. If, else. More human, I like that. Don't forget we code for humans, not just for computers, yeah? And that's still all good, all green, all sexy. So, what you did here, Luigi. So Luigi, essentially, he used if else, all good. Can anyone spot any elegance issue? Look, here, Luigi is using a tab. Yeah, it should be a space for consistency reasons, but all good apart from that. Can anyone see any elegance issue for Bucket? Correct. There are multiple things. What happened with the first if, Davide?
Space from if and the brackets?
No, that's correct. That space, I believe, well, could be right, space or no space here, as far as it's consistent. However, here is not consistent. You see, space before else, no space here. Yeah. And also, there is another inconsistency. So if it's poor or nice, she's using a div. If it's excellent, no div at all. Yeah. So let's be consistent. I'm not against divs. But let's use it everywhere. Right? Otherwise, that may affect your UI, your layout, right? So be careful with that. Also, what do you think about the first condition here? Is that necessary? It's not, yeah? Because if you said, if prop.score is less than 50, else, that means that the score is at least 50. So that's redundant. That's unnecessary. You agree on that, Bucket? Cool, cheers. All good apart from that. For Bilius, yeah.
Show what we
you can return just the text, correct? I'm not against that using divs. However, that feels a bit confusing from an indentation point of view, because you just, if score is below 50, do something. But that, generally speaking, is on the right-hand side. Yeah. So after every question mark, guys, add a break line. After every colon, add a break line. Yeah.
I mean, I prefer this way because it's like.
Yeah, but
in my one, it's like very okay. I have a condition.
Bilius, I prefer to be now in the Caribbean drinking a mojito, right? But we should differentiate between our personal preferences and what the standards are. Yeah, I respect your opinion. I'm not against that, but please, let's call for the community, not for ourselves. Yeah? The standard is add a break line after the question mark and after the colon. Yeah, cool. Here, again, even though that looks perfect from an indentation and consistency point of view, don't remember that this is unnecessary. It's redundant, yeah? Because if we are here, it's because the score is about 50. It's at least 50, so we don't need that. Cool. I like the approach for Billy. For Florin. What happened here? Why that didn't work, guys?
Question mark.
So the problem, it's a subtle issue. I like the idea of Florin. I find it very elegant, very hygienic. However, the problem is, if a score is below 50, well, ignoring you need a space here, let's ignore the indentation and stuff. Let's focus on the main thing. If a score is below 50, poor. Else, even though that's unnecessary, the problem is that condition is wrong, first of all. The way you combine two conditions is prop that the score is greater or equal than 50, and again, props that the score is below 75, yeah? That kind of shorthand, I know it works in other languages, but not in JavaScript, unfortunately.
I don't know if you work in other languages.
You should have said, I know it's from other languages, so.
I never studied.
Cool.
No, this one in other languages wouldn't work.
Well,
Because you put like props, those go like in the middle, like later. Like Java.
yeah. And
1, 2, middle, 22.
also, look at the missing question mark, right? Because that's a condition. Remember to the exclamation mark. Yeah. So, anyways, I like the structure. I find it very interesting. Yes, subtle details. And what else? And for our friend Helder, why it didn't work? Again? Seconds, props, this one? Yeah, correct. Same problem as Florin, right? So I hope Helder is catching that. So props of the score is greater than 50. And again, this props of the score, this is unnecessary. But okay, you can put it. If you put it, and again, props of the score, is less than 75. And so that's pretty much it. Any question, guys, here? No? Cool. So let's go to the last one on beginner. Loops, list of elements, very, very important, vital in React. So we have a list of themes. I like that question. And then you are expected to add, look, you have something called position with a class name that should be displayed 3 times. And for each time, we display the name of the team. Yeah? Cool. So, we got that already in place. Look, so actually, this is 80% done already. So, teams, and then we map, that means we go through all the list of teams. And then for each team, we display the position. So, how do we display the name of the team? Team? What's the name of the key? What key? I mean, let's run that and let's see what happens. Cool, it fails. Look, you return Williams. So, however, we are expecting to return Williams, but with the prefix of the position of the team. Index. Where? Before, right? Index, like that. Y plus 1. Correct. Remember in JavaScript, arrays start at 0. So if we do that, that will display 0 Williams, 1 Ferrari, whatever, right? That's not human friendly. Will it work or not? We need a dot. Lucia is right. Yes. Index, dot. Yeah. Why dot? Because the example wants to put a dot. Yeah. After the number. Yeah. Subtle. Very subtle. Still doesn't work. Why? Because, correct. As Nico suggested, we need to add 1. So once we do that, then, boom, it does work. However, what's that? Yes, that's something vital in React. Every time you have a loop, every time you use map, the very first element of your loop should have a key. Why? Because thanks to that key attribute, React can track changes. Yeah? It's a technical thing that you don't necessarily have to understand now, but at least you should remember to stick to that rule, right? To that convention. So how do we add a key? We simply type key, and then the key should be unique. We could use the index. Yes, we could use the index. It will work, but I'll tell you something. React recommends not to use the index. Not to use the index. And I'll tell you why. If at some point you want to sort the results, if you use the index, React won't be able to change the position of the elements. So in other words, if your elements are expected to change, yeah, like a ranking, index won't work. React won't be able, because the index is static. So whatever is an index number 1, if now you add a new element, it's an index number 2, React won't be able to understand that. So please find something unique that is not the index. Do you have anything unique here? The team, correct, Bilius. The name of the team is unique. Yeah, so please use that. And now, it should still work without any elegance issue, correct? All good so far, yeah? Any question?
Can you generate a key from a new variable?
Yeah, definitely. You can put whatever you want here as far as it's unique, yeah? Generally speaking, if you're looping, generally speaking, you have always something unique as part of your data. But if not, probably you need to create a function to, yeah? Maybe, yeah? Whatever. Try not to be on that scenario, right? Try to get something unique. And again, if the data is static, if you don't want to sort and to dynamically change it, in worst case, use the index. Just be aware of that limitation. Any question, guys? No? So what you did here, question number 5. So for Luigi, literally the same thing. Oh, but with one subtle difference. He's using a template literal. You see the backticks? Yeah, that's a bit unnecessary. It's okay. Remember, every time you open curly brackets, that means, hey, JavaScript inside. Yeah? So he is in JSX, then he goes to JavaScript to do something that you don't need, yeah? So you can simply do that, yeah? So as you saw here, yeah, it's a bit simpler. You don't need to deal with backticks and weird expressions. But anyway, it's all good apart from that. Like Bucket did, for instance, you see? So Bucket and Luigi, these solutions are pretty much identical. And however, that line is better. Also, can you spot any difference between Luigi and Bucket? Which key is better? Yes, correct. So Bucket's keys are unique. However, with Luigi, correct, all the keys have the same value. That means that even though it works, if React needs to rearrange, it will say, okay, whatever was key team on index 1, now it will be on index 3. And it will say, oh, I don't know what is index 1. Every element has the same key, yeah? So try to avoid that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. So any question, guys, regarding beginner? No? So let's spend the next 35 minutes, even 40 minutes, doing intermediate, yeah? Some of you already tried. Some of you managed to get some questions. Don't trust that pentagraph, because as I said, some of you got a better score, yeah? So this is something I'll analyze this afternoon, yeah? So again, please don't, as far as possible, try to avoid doing training, because the score won't be probably recorded, okay? I'll let you know, obviously, once the problem is fixed. Cool, but anyway, let's do the challenge, yeah, which is the important thing. Remember, the scores are not that important. Ooh, cool. Yeah, you'll see, starting from intermediate, you need to scroll a lot on the left-hand side, right? Lots of things here going on. So, does anyone know, first of all, what that means? What are we doing here? Because that's a bit new, right? New structure.
It's an object inside an array.
It's an array of objects. Why we have an array of objects here suddenly? This is what in the industry we call test unrolling. Yeah? Imagine that you want to check if an email is valid or not. Yeah? So you can have a test. Is that email valid? True. Is that email valid? False. Is that email valid? True. You play with different values. Yeah? You test. You stress your algorithms a bit. So you can obviously create multiple tests. But if the structure of the test is the same, you can create a test once. You see the test is once, and then so here, the test is created just once. However, I'm calling the same test again, passing different data each time, yeah, to simplify things a bit. Even though the first thing you think when you see that is, this is a bit overcomplicated, in the long term, it massively simplifies things. Because if I want to assert something new, I have to do it only once, and then all my tests will inherit. Yeah? Cool. So, what's the plan here? We have a list of movies, and then, so each movie is in a paragraph, and then what we have. Cool. So for each movie, we have an object with the title, the year, and the director, and then we're expected to format the movie details in a human-friendly fashion. You see, name of the movie with parentheses, the year, directed by. You see, a bit of fine-tuning on the outcome of the component. So, and also here we don't have any code. At least we got the first line, right? The class. On the expert, I don't think you get that at all. Just an empty, blank sheet. Yeah. So in here, is this a stateful or a stateless component? Stateless? Stateful? It's a class, correct. Other question is whether we can solve it with a stateless component. I don't know. I don't know if we need to use any state or not. But at least, if the test is offering a stateful version, we can just reuse it. How do we render things with a stateful component? Constructor. Do we need the constructor? Maybe not at all. Probably not. I don't know. If we need it, we'll notice quickly. But by default, I suggest not to use the constructor. So how do we display things? Render, correct, guys. Well done. Render. And remember, return. A classic mistake is you do an amazing function here, an amazing algorithm, and you forget to add the return statement. So that's what I like. First thing, put a return statement, and then we'll see. So what do we have? We have a list of movies, yeah, and for each movie, we have to display a few details. So how do we access the list of movies on the render function? Correct. The movies is a prop, right? So we can do this.props.what? I don't know. Let's see how we call it. List. Yeah? This.props.list. Let's do that. This is the property list. Then what else? Map. Yeah, we want to iterate through the list of movies. So then I call each individual movie. And then for each movie, we just want to display some details, yeah? I think we need to use a paragraph, if I remember correctly, yeah? No references to class names or weird things, so yes, let's use a p tag, yeah? And then, once we got the p tag, we close it. Do we need the return statement? Yes or no? Why? This is fundamental.
There's no.
Not at all, because
It's not very crazy, so.
correct. It's one statement. Look, we're using parentheses. Yeah, they will be necessary if we use curly brackets with multiple statements. But because we have one statement, we can simplify it a bit. So now, how do we access the title of the movie? Say it again. Movie dot title. Correct. And then title. The year, I think the year goes in parentheses, yeah? So then let's put some parentheses. And then what? Movie.year. And then comma, directed by movie.director, yeah? Something like that. And that should work. Easy peasy, right? That was it. That was it. However, because we want to be excellent developers, we should avoid these things, yeah? So let's spend a few seconds dealing with that. First of all, that line is very long. I hope you agree on that. You see that vertical helper, right? That's a new thing. Previous boot campers, they didn't got that. So there was a finger in the air. Now you got a line that tells you. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been spending an hour
Yeah.
thinking
Yeah.
I had to use a key to look over the array
Yeah.
and using map.
No. You need to use a key. We got a warning. Look, missing key for elements. So we still need to use the key. We'll sort out in a minute.
But yours worked, right?
Oh, of course it works. So the key doesn't make the exercise fail. The key is just a recommendation. It's like a semicolon. Missing semicolon doesn't break your code. Yeah, it's just a matter of styling. The difference is if you forget the semicolon, that's fine. If you forget the key, in some cases, it may not work as expected. Yeah. So then, first of all, to simplify that line, let's use object destructuring again here, right? Instead of the movie, look, I can put parentheses, curly bracket, and then title, comma, year, comma, director. Look at how sexy this is. Yeah? So now I can remove all the references to movie. Look, boom. Super sexy. Yeah? Title, year, directed by, and director. And finally, the key. Which key can we use, guys? Is the year a valid key? Not really, right? We can have more than one movie in a single year. Is the director a good key? No. The title, maybe, right? It's not.
It depends.
Title, but still, that's not rocket science, right? We could have the same movie in the same year twice. Yeah? Have you seen Titanic 2? It exists, yeah? It's one of my favorite scrap movies. So, key equals title. I want to keep it easy, yeah? So, let's see if that works. Cool, fantastic. It's literally perfect, yeah? Yeah, you see, remember, if you destructure your argument, if you destructure the argument, you need to put the parentheses, yeah? So do you remember we said parentheses are not necessary if you have one argument? That's true, unless you destructure it. Destructure. Yeah, we'll do a workshop to explain how to destructure objects and how to destructure arrays. It's a new feature, correct? It's a new feature. It's a new feature. Cool, let me see your code. Yeah. You don't want to see your code? Of course it's needed, right? You know, if you like football or any other sport, sometimes, let's think about tennis, right? Tennis player, he's played a really horrible match, he's lost the challenge, the championship, whatever. Generally speaking, to me, the feedback, what they say to the TV and stuff is wrong. They say, no, I should forget that as soon as possible. No, if you do something wrong, if you fail, you shouldn't forget that, right? You should remember that, because thanks to that, you will improve. Yeah, that's a very personal thought. So if you fail here miserably, don't worry. Yeah, that's why we are here, just to keep improving. Cool. So, what happened today? Question number 1. So for Walter, interesting. Look, Walter make it a bit overcomplicated just because he created a state, yeah, which is unnecessary. And also, beyond that, that's a bit cheating, yeah? Can anyone tell me why?
If there's more than 2.
Correct. Not even more than 2. If there is only 1, that won't work, yeah? That won't work. That's why our solution should be as much flexible as possible, yeah? Cool. Then for, what happened here? Yeah? Who is talking? Hello? Luigi?
It's Luigi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, yes.
It's Luigi here. Can you hear me? Yes. Sorry, I think I don't get your voice from the meetup.
Yeah, because someone mute me.
YouTube.
Sorry.
There is a lag.
Yeah, Luigi. Yeah. Now you should hear me. It's because someone mute me on the before, right?
Okay.
Shit. Now it should be fine.
Here it is now.
Perfect. Fantastic. Thank you, Luigi. That's all right.
Just a quick thing on
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
And also to the solution as Walter.
Yeah.
I mean, just to, I don't know, maybe like second guessing what Walter was trying to do. Like, if you see on the left hand side the instruction,
Yep.
I mean, I kind of got a bit misled. If you expand there,
Yep.
it says expected.
Yep.
Suppose it shows, like the first movie, and then it shows a comma at the end of.
The first movie shows a comma.
A little bit higher.
Yeah.
In the middle, a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So you see that there is David Zucker, comma. So I don't know if kind of like Walter was trying to do that, saying.
No, but Luigi, there is a comma here because we have an array, right? We have an array of movies. Yeah, array, list is an array. That's why we have a comma, because we have many elements. Yeah, we have many elements. Yeah, I understand that.
The expected part, I thought that, that was expected as a result of having like the different movies separated by comma. I don't know, but that was something that maybe Walter was thinking probably the same way.
Yeah, I understand. Well,
Just saying that.
anyway, probably we'll change the question by adding, for instance, a third movie, right, on the second example. So then that won't work anymore. So that's interesting because Walter made it works, right? So it's good, but he made it overcomplicated and then oversimplified somewhere else, right? So, yeah. And then Wendy. So she got the idea, right? So she's looping. Well, first of all, props not movies. That's wrong already. Why movies, Wendy, and not Brexit? Right? We don't have any movies. It's called, the argument is called list. Yeah? And also, remember to add this. Yeah? This.props.movies. Yeah? And also you created the movies component, which is nowhere, right? So, yeah. Yeah, and Luigi, so, yeah, I don't really get that, and yeah, for Davide it was just halfway through, yeah? Cool. Any question? No? I hope you agree this is not that complicated, right?
No, there is this is subject to study. So, Ricardo, there's no need in the class to put always constructor. I think
No. Constructor is necessary if you have state. If you have state. In here, we don't have any state. If we don't have any state, can we transform that into a stateless function?
Yes.
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm going to remove everything. Function movies. And I'm going to receive props. Or I can destructure it with list. Yeah. And then I can return that. Yeah. Will this work or not? Correct. Bucket is right. This doesn't exist in a stateless component. And now, will it work or not? No, why not? Correct. We are destructuring props, even simpler. And now, will it work or not? Okay, let's try. Stateless approach. It does work. Yeah, it does work. Which is great, yeah, because this is probably even simpler. Let's see if we can say the same on the next question. Ooh, salary exposes the salary expectation of a player. Yeah. So here we got input and label, and then depending on data, we're going to display something or something else. Yeah. So I can immediately grasp, because we have an input, you need a stateful component. Yeah. Because whenever there is user interaction, we want to change the state because we want to re-render. Yeah? Every time you want to re-render, you need a stateful component. In that case, we want to re-render because by default, we don't display the salary of the developer. However, as soon as we type something, then we want to display a label with the introduced salary. Yeah? So we need some state. How do we create the state, guys? Constructor, correct. And then what? Super. Remember, always put super. Otherwise, you will have problems. Yeah. And then this dot state. We'll see what we put on the state. And for now, I'm going to create a variable called salary that will be an empty string, I believe, for now. And now, render. What our component has a couple of things. Yeah. Input, type number, and label. Do we need any wrapping element? Do we need that to surround them or not? It's only one. Which one? Input. Okay, fair enough. Input, let's put the input, type number. You know what an input type number is? You can only type numbers. Yeah? This is a new thing in HTML5. In the past, you had to control that with JavaScript. On chains, evaluate the value, if it's numeric, allow, if not, block, and it was a pain in the ass. Now it's much simpler.
So is there an input for email as well?
Yes, there is an input for text, for password, for email, and for number, correct. So input type number, let's leave it there for now. And then what? What else? Do we need any other input, any other field, any other? Label, correct.
At this point, we have to close all. There are two elements.
So what happened? How many root elements do we have?
Two.
2. Is that valid in React? No. How can we solve that? Wrap it, yeah? Use a div or whatever. Something surrounding your sexy tags. Is there any other way without using a wrapper? React fragment, no. I don't know why you're using React fragments, no. Simpler.
Label, between the label.
No, if you use a fragment, you are effectively adding a new element surrounding everything. Wrong.
The object. You say the thing about the object.
After the render, wrong. That's a board challenge, intermediate. How? Array, thank you, Walter. You get 1 point in the board challenge. Yes. So, with array, you can do that. I'm not a big fan, to be honest, of that syntax, because it breaks the principle of HTML. Right? We're mixing things a bit. However, it's possible. Yeah? So in some cases, if you need it, go for it. Yeah? Before going any further, remember to add a return statement. Cool. Thank you, Wendy. Okay, so we got our input, we got our label, and then what? Then it says, okay, the value of the input by default is an empty string. First of all, we got the salary here. How do we bind that property in the state with the input? Value, correct, bucket. Value equals what? This dot state. Is that correct? Correct, because this is JavaScript. Yeah, we do need curly braces. Yeah, correct. And that line should work now. And then get message should be an empty string. Okay, may work now. We got nothing on it, fair enough. But then what happened? Oh, then we change. We enter some money, right? How much we want to make. So we have to capture the change. How do we capture input changes? On change, correct. Fantastic. Well done, guys. On change, like that. Capital letter, everything. No, that feels a bit aggressive, like we are shouting, on change! No, let's be polite. On change equals what? We need a new component? No, we need a new class method. A new class method that I will call it set salary. Yeah? So how do we invoke set salary? This dot set salary. Correct. Do you remember what we explained about the problems with lexical this? We need to do that. Yeah? And then how do we capture the value of the input? State. This dot set state salary equals to what? How do we capture what the user has entered? E value. Like that? No. E what? Dot value. Like that? What do you think? E dot target, correct. Look at the left hand side. Event dot target dot value. That's the way in this is not about React, this is about basic JavaScript. In basic JavaScript, that's the way you capture values of an input. E dot target dot value. Will that work or not? Correct. Where is E coming from? I will throw an error for sure. The function. Probably we need to pass it here, right? And here. Anywhere else? On change here as well, right? So on change, we receive the event and then we pass it through our class method. Do we need a parenthesis here? Only one argument, no the structuring. We can remove it if we want. Yeah? Correct. So I think that's looking much better. But now, however, here, what? How do we access? We have to display some text. Expected salary. So can we do expected salary? Then what? This state salary. Will this work? No, why not? Correct. Gawa is right. It will work eventually, but it will fail on that line. Because by default, we expect to display nothing. However, by default, I will display expected salary, $, that's it, not dollar. Sterling, whatever, yeah, empty string. So we need an if else. If I got the salary, display the text. If not, don't display anything. How do we do an if else here? Can we do that? Can we do this dot state dot salary? Then, yeah, then put your expression here, and then otherwise empty string. Please note that this is JavaScript already because of the curly brackets. Because this is JavaScript, that line won't work. Yeah, we need to use what? Backticks, correct. And then remember, with backticks you need $ to access the variables again. Yeah, something like that. What do you think, guys? Salary is expected salary. Yes, the typo here. Expected salary. Thank you, Bucket. Let's see if that works. It doesn't work. This is what we mentioned before, right? Adjacent JSX elements must be wrapped in a tag. Yeah, you remember we discussed that before. However, I forgot to put that back. Div, and then close the div, and then of course please indent everything. Yeah. So now let's see again. All good, perfect, yeah. Fantastic. It works, no elegance issues. One subtle hint here. You will notice that the more complex your components are, the more you'll have to type this.state, 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 yeah? When that happens, I do that. Let salary equals this.state.salary. So then I don't have to type the same thing again, and again, yeah? So now I can remove all the references to, yeah, this.state. Now, because our line is shorter, we can maybe even put it in one line. Maybe, yeah? You see? Maybe we can even put everything in one line. Not sure if I'm asking too much now. Well, you know, that's up to you, yeah? But at least the code, I believe, you agree, looks easier to read, more readable. And that should, of course, still work, unless we've done something wrong. It's all good. Any question? No? So let's check your code. So, for Walter, so he creates value, and then, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, yeah? It's all good, however, I find that line, Walter, if you can hear me, a bit over-engineered. Why are you using React.fragment here? Yeah, so fragments, which is a new and important thing in React, yeah, we'll talk actually, it's part of the expert training, but this is completely necessary here, right? So fragments make sense when you want to communicate components in a sexy way. Yeah? Here we don't want to communicate our component with anything else. So it works because we need a root element. Yeah. So fragment is a root element. So yeah, but it's a bit over-engineered because you are giving the feeling that you want to communicate your component with the outer wall, which is not the case. So please don't use fragments unless you have a good reason for it. Apart from that, yeah, it's all good. I may complain a bit about indentation here. I may complain about spaces, you know, a bit of tidy up, yeah, semicolon here, all these sort of things. But apart from that, all good. Why didn't work for Lucia? Oh, yeah, this is hard-coded, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, fair enough. And then Gawa, let's see what Gawa did. So he created two variables, value and message. And then let me have a look again, React.fragment, don't do that. But apart from that, that looks really good. So on change, this value change, oh, what I am, yeah. And then the value, and then so when you change something, you call change value with a new value. So he's calculating the message. Actually, that's nice. It's a different approach. Yeah, but I like it. Instead of having the ternary operator in the render function, so he initialized the message, and then once we set some salary, yeah, he changed that. My only concern about Gawa's solution is what happened if then we remove the salary? Can anyone see what the situation will be? What, Lucia? Correct. If we now clear the input, Gawa will expect the salary, sterling, and nothing, yeah? Which is probably not what the test wants. Yeah? That's why here you should actually have the condition. Yeah? Do I have eTarget.value? Yes, then display that. No, then display an empty string. Yeah? Cool. All good apart from that, Gawa. So I think that's it. Last question, guys. Question number 3. Question number 3. Eurovision contest is back. It's actually true, right? It's running next month, I believe. So let's read that. That's a bit special in some respect. So here we start talking about nested components. Yeah? We have a component, the main one, called Eurovision results, that actually refers to something called loading. And look, even though that's a string, and it's a bit mind-blowing the first time you read that, in reality, that's another React component. Yeah, it's the same. So that you can find components either using the tag name or either using a string. In other words, we have two nested components, loading and results. So how this works is, if you've been working a bit with task number 25, where we display a loading icon, yeah, that's part of CodeFlix actually. It's very similar to that question. So we want to display a message, loading results, you know, when you refresh a page, loading, and after half a second, then we want to display the list of participants in the Eurovision contest. Yeah? Again, will the UI get updated? Yes, because it will get updated, we need a state. Yeah? So let's create a stateful component. We got it there prepared for us already. So, what's the first thing we need? Constructor, correct. Let's create the structure first, and then we'll go on details. Then what? Super, yeah? And then I'm going to initialize the state to what? I have no idea, but for now it's an empty object. And also, before I forget, let's prepare the render, yeah? Render, return, div for now, whatever, yeah? We'll see what we put here. So then, the first thing we know is that depending on the timing, we'll show either loading or results. So I'm going to create a variable here called isLoading, equal by default to true or to false. True, because the first thing is show the message, yeah? So then, now I can ask, hey, is this dot state dot is loading? Yeah? Am I loading anything? If so, display loading. Otherwise, display results. Something like that. Oops, loading with capital L. Yeah? Does it make sense? It's not that complicated, right? So now two things. First of all, let's create the loading component. Stateful or stateless? Stateless, yes? Loading is just a message that won't change. Function, loading, return, come on. Return, I think it's loading results, yeah? Yes, loading results, ... Right, let's just do something very simple. Loading results, yeah? And then pretty much the same thing for results. Results, display, it's hard-coded, right? We don't care about, yeah, how to deal with that. So let's hard-code that as well. The line is a bit long, so let's add some break lines around. Remember, this is JSX, so don't use quotes, otherwise you'll mess everything a bit. Yeah. So now the problem is the first part should work. However, after half a second, we want to swap from displaying loading to results. In other words, we want to update the state. Yeah? Yeah, of course.
In the first area, why do we like this dot set state? Should be this set?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry, that's my fault. Yeah, you're right, Pelin. Cool, fantastic. You got 1 point on the board challenge. This is not the state, yeah? And now, how do we manipulate the state? In a different function, you can use component did mount or component will mount. I like to use component did mount because then I'm sure that the component is already visible. How do we delay an operation in JavaScript for a period of time? Set timeout, correct. Set timeout. So do something and then timing. After how long? 500. This is milliseconds, yeah? So after half a second, then what? How do we do that? This, where I am? This, come on. Yeah, I cannot zoom it that much. Did set state, then what? Object, right? Well done, Bilius. Is loading. Simpler, no. No. False, easy, right? After half a second, stop loading. I don't want to toggle on and off. Yes, that's it, forever. Yeah. I got enough Eurovision for this year. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Actually, we can simplify that because it's so simple that we can put it in one line. Hopefully, if you want. Yeah. Probably you can put everything in one line. Can we? Yeah, apparently, yeah. It's too much. Up to you. Yeah, whatever you find more readable. So let's see if that works. Last question of the day. Oh, it didn't work. Interesting. It says that after half a second, the get loading message is still there. We are not removing it. When a problem like that happens, the first thing I do is check the elegance console to see if there is any typo. But there isn't any typo. It's all good. So now the question is, why this is not working? I can't tell you, to be honest. New component for? No. This is just the way the test is structured. This is a way to say, please wait half a second. I'm wondering whether let me do something. Let me reduce the timer. Instead of 500, let's put 100, just to see if it's because the timing is so exact. Don't think so, but you never know. No, too optimistic, right? Very romantic idea. So get loading. It's false, right? No, that's yeah. Dot set state is loading. Component. Component. You see how easy it is to ruin your effort, yeah? It's the consequence of not having a proper key, T key in my keyboard. It doesn't work well, right? Sometimes I miss it. Component. I need to, look, this is my T key on my keyboard, right? In my hand at the moment.
But it's your birthday.
Cool, component in mount, correct. So it should be as simple as that. Let's try again. And now, yes, it does work. Yeah? It was simply that. Cool, fantastic. Any questions? It's not that complicated again, right? Cool. Anyone solve that one? Oh yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. It was easier, right? That was easier. So Walter, the same thing again. I'm against the way Walter indents things. Yeah, I find this a bit hard to read. And then data true, data false. Right. Exists true, exists false for Lucia. She's toggling. I know it's simpler than that, yeah. But anyway, you got the idea. So that's a good thing. And then what else? For Wendy, is loading active true? Again, she's toggling it, which is unnecessary. And actually she got a penalty on the length of the line probably. And then again, as I mentioned to Bilius before, that is wrong. That column should be here on the right hand side. Yeah. Interestingly, Wendy is using instead of a classic function, she's using the new function as constants. This pattern is also valid. You can use it if you want. It's just different syntax, but it's the same thing. Yeah. Cool. Anything else, guys? No? So let's leave it here. We went a bit beyond time. Again, just to recap, I'll check the logs as soon as possible. I'll keep you posted on Slack. And once everything is solved, we can do the classic review of the results. Yeah, the other way around. Results.reverse. Cool. Thank you, guys. Cheers.